Over an hour ago, players between 30 to 21 were released on the NFL Top 100. Now, on the list, there are some players that I thought were just right. For the most part, I was perfectly fine with a lot of players on the list, but there was a couple that I thought that should have been higher and some players that should have been lower. So to start off was Earl Thomas. At number 30th, I think Earl Thomas is the best free safety in the league. I think he is a center fielder, and he's very important to Seattle because in that cover three scheme, you need to have a center fielder right there, and that's what Earl Thomas brings. But with all the injuries, what happened last year, and what you saw what happens when they didn't have him against the Atlanta Falcons in the divisional round, I think we have to consider him at number 30. Next guy was Mike Evans. I had no concern right here. Mike Evans is like a top 5, top 10 receiver in the league, and I think 29 is perfectly fine. Then we have Landon Collins, which I'm glad was higher than Cam Chancellor because Landon Collins got 6 sacks last year for the New York Giants. And the Giants love getting sacks either way. I think they would prefer without blitzing. But the fact that Landon Collins got 6 sacks for a strong safety is absurd. The most sacks in NFL history held by a single player was Rodney Harrison. He had 29. Landon Collins got 6 in one season. Now, he probably won't have like that again in his NFL career, but the fact that he basically got 1/5 of his sacks compared to Rodney Harrison, who played for 15 years, Landon Collins got it in one basically season. I think that's absurd, and he really helped carry the Giants to that play. I think that secondary played a huge role in getting them back into the playoffs, making them a force there. And when I look at this, yeah, he is Janoris Jenkins, yeah, he's Dominic Rogers commodity and a first round pick in Eli Apple, but Landon Collins was the best player in that secondary last year and probably is one of the best players on that team, if not the best. Then you have Lesean McCoy. Now, Lesean McCoy, he has a lot of blocking, and I feel like with him, he's the closest thing to what we have to Barry Sanders, even though Barry Sanders is much better. And I feel like with that kind of talent, he shouldn't need as much blocking. I think there's a lot of times where he is useful, but he isn't Ezekiel Elliott, he isn't Le'Veon Bell. Next, we got Travis Kelce. I thought Travis Kelce should have been lowered on the list because Travis Kelce is one of these players who walks the walk, but he can't talk the talk. And there's too many times in games where he becomes a non-factor because he is just a D-bag on the field. With the idea of trying to taunt Tom Brady when he was getting kicked out of the Jaguars game, and then when he pushed over, I think it was Mike Mitchell in the divisional round against the Steelers. Come on, this guy just doesn't have that mental strength, and I think he just thinks he's just too high on himself. If you're gonna trash talk, at least be good at it, or at least like try to back it up. The guy can't even back it up, and I just think that I'm not as highly as him. And there's too many times where this guy just kind of shies away and doesn't do anything in the game. And when I look at a tight end like Rob Gronkowski doesn't shy away in a game. Versus Travis Kelce will, and he'll get pouty over it. And I just think the guy should change his name. Since he is a diva, like Chad Ochocinco changed his name, I think he should change his name to Female Dog. Then you got Joe Thomas. I'm perfectly fine with putting Joe Thomas there. He's the second best left tackle in the game right now, and he is behind Tyrone Smith, but hell, he's a hell of a player, future Hall of Famer, and I feel bad for him that he's on the Browns. Now, Russell Wilson at 24, I was perfectly fine with because that puts him at the 8th best quarterback in the league, and I'm fine at putting him at the 8th best quarterback in the game. I think that's perfectly normal. I think that's what it is. I think there's some players, like a Dak Prescott, he's better than Dak Prescott, but a guy like Andrew Luck should be higher on the list. But overall, I'm fine with the ranking of Russell Wilson. Next guy, you have Rob Gronkowski. I think he should be lowered, even though he's probably going to be higher on the list next year, and he should be, and he's coming into 2017 as the best tight end. But at the same time, though, when you look at it, 2016, he only played 8 games, and the Patriots won a Super Bowl without him. So when I look at that, I just don't think his value is exactly there coming into 2017. But he probably will rebound. I kind of understand that, but come on, I think he should be lowered. Next guy, I think should be Ben Roethlisberger. Now, I think Ben Roethlisberger is the top 5 quarterback in the league. I think career-wise, he had a better career than Drew Brees. Drew Brees is a more likable guy because he didn't have that sexual assault allegation, or he didn't have that big suspension where Ben Roethlisberger did something to a girl and it was probably sexual. And I think, like, I get that why people would like Brees more, but I think Roethlisberger is a better quarterback. Roethlisberger has won 2 Super Bowls. He's been to 3. And ideally, he never had a great offense. Yeah, he has a great defense, but he has played well even with a great offense. And I look at Ben Roethlisberger. I think he's absolutely great. Top 5 quarterback, future Hall of Famer. Now, the next guy on the list was Richard Sherman at 21, and I think Richard Sherman should be so much higher on the list because I think he's better than Patrick Peterson. I just do. Because Richard Sherman is the centerpiece. I think he changed a little bit of his identity, playing more man coverage, and he played so much better playing with well not he wasn't better with man coverage, but it definitely helped the team out that he could transition and he just does so much for the team. Well, Patrick Peterson kind of just does the same thing over and over again. I think Richard Sherman is a much more versatile player, and when I look at this, he should be higher on the list than Patrick Peterson. So in the comments below, share your thoughts about who should be higher and who should be lower.